If you ever felt out of control around food, what if I told you it has nothing to do with food? Because what you might not realize, having an eating disorder or emotional eating is deeply connected to parts of you that never felt safe. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 4 insights that has helped me to heal my eating disorder, and hopefully it will help you too. My name is Ada, and on this channel I share insights on nervous system regulation, trauma healing, psychosomatics, and the gut-brain connection. And I'm not speaking from theory. I've spent over 20 years dealing with disordered eating, people-pleasing patterns, and narcissistic relationships, and the effects of childhood trauma. So everything I share here comes from real life experience and actually understanding how this works. So let's dive in straight into the 4 insights that has helped me to heal my eating disorder, and like I said, hopefully it will help you too. The gut-brain connection. Your gut and your brain are directly connected. So whatever is happening in your body can actually drive your cravings, your emotions, and your relationship with food. Specifically, when you realize that around 80 to 90% of serotonin, the happy hormone, is produced in your guts. It changes how you look at your mood, your cravings, and your patterns, And coming across a book which called Brain Over Binge was actually a turning point for me, because it has helped me to understand that my urges weren't coming from something being wrong with me. They were actually coming from a dysregulated gut microbiome, dysregulated hormones, and imbalanced electrolytes, especially since I was around 16 when I started to, struggle with my body image and fell into emotional eating patterns. It really has helped me to understand that my binge and purge habits were connected to body image and how I was perceiving myself. This is for sure true, but also to a deeper things like feeling unappreciated, lacking attention, trying to gain control through food and my body. At the same time, I started to see that my body was constantly in survival mode because it was chronically imbalanced. It was lacking key electrolytes like magnesium, potassium, calcium, and when you're under eating, purging, or not nourishing your body properly, it doesn't matter how much willpower you have or how disciplined you try to be, biology will always override that. Your body needs a certain level of nutrients and balance to function, and constant purging was keeping me stuck in that loop. That book has helped me to realize that I needed to first fix my diet and rebuild my relationship with food. Not to be scared of it, because there was so much fear around food that even when I was eating something balanced, my brain would just register it as a danger, not safety. And yes, food was giving me temporary comfort, of course, but that was coming from those quick spikes in serotonin and dopamine, especially from sweet and fatty foods. And that is when I started to truly understand how everything is actually connected. There is no healthy mind without a healthy gut, and there is no healthy gut without a healthy mind. Let's move on now to insight number 2. Disordered eating is deeply connected to your childhood. My eating disorder wasn't just about food. It was deeply connected to my early environment and the sense of safety I was experiencing growing up. When you grow up in an environment where there is stress, fear, or emotional disconnection, your brain starts looking for ways to cope and create a sense of safety. Now, looking back, I learned that growing up in an environment of lack, whether it's a lack of money, lack of food, everything just comes down to lack of safety, just in the different forms. And in my household, there was always fear of not enough money. As a child, you are an observer of conflicts around money, and there is an extra layer to it when actually one of the parents or even both are emotionally unavailable, or their emotional intelligence is just simply not developed enough. And what I mean by this is that some people just don't know how to talk about their emotions. It's hard for them to confront uncomfortable emotions, and fear is one of them. I never really had a space to express my emotions freely. We didn't have those, deep conversations about things I was going through as a teenager, and storing those unprocessed emotions while at the same time watching conflicts between my parents about money caused my brain to very quickly learn one pattern, that food was giving me comfort and a feeling of safety. It just happens that it was the tool I had, you know. For some people, it might be smoking, alcohol, video games, even people pleasing. But for me, the most instant relief was obviously food because of how it affects your brain and hormones, giving you a quick release of dopamine and serotonin. My brain just very quickly created that connection, you know, between food and feeling safe. And that's how the loop and the pattern was actually created. For me, learning about adversity in childhood and how childhood trauma affects you in adulthood helped me to understand the mechanisms that were actually controlling me for so many freaking years. So if I could give you one more insight, that would be learning about total biology. Total biology is the understanding that your body doesn't react randomly. It responds to emotional stress and conflict in a very specific way, biological way. So what we often see as symptoms, patterns, or behaviors are actually very meaningful responses to something unresolved on an emotional level. It also explains that food is deeply connected to your first experience of safety in life, your mother. Now think about it. When you're drinking your mother's milk, you feel safe. She's a provider of safety, of life force. And that's why food can so easily become, on a subconscious level, a source of comfort and safety. You know, one day I came across the concept of total biology after buying a book about psychosomatics. I started learning about different health issues, not only mine, but also ones my family members have. And for example, my mom had 2 heart attacks, and my dad, he loved his beer all his life, so very unhealthy. And these kinds of behaviors and health issues were explained in that book in a completely different way. What's actually going on underneath the surface, underneath the symptom or behavior. And I found it really groundbreaking because before that I was convinced that there was literally something wrong with me, with my willpower, with my discipline. But total biology really opened my eyes not only to my own health patterns and how they relate to my emotional state, but also to understanding my family. And that's changed a lot, because when you understand why someone behaves the way they do, why they act a certain way and or even hurt you, I would say, it becomes easier to reframe your perspective. Not only to forgive others who may have hurt you or disappoint you, but also to forgive yourself. The biology of our brain is so strongly connected to our brain that understanding this actually helped me to make sense of so many behaviors, you know, both mine and others that I previously just couldn't understand. And if you're interested in the exact title of the book, just write in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to share it with you. And lastly, my friend, I want to tell you, it just takes time. What I also had to understand is that a real change takes freaking time, because your brain works through patterns and repetition, right? Neuroscience talks about habit formation, meaning that every time you repeat a behavior, your brain strengthens that pattern. The more you repeat it, the more automatic it becomes. And if you want to change a habit, you need to repeat a different behavior consistently over time for your brain to actually rewire, to create that new neural pathway. When you start to understand how habits are formed, you also start to understand how to change them. Just think about it. You know, it's like walking on a specific path. Let me give you an example. Let's take a grass field as an example, okay? You see a grass field, and instead of walking around it to keep the grass nice and green, you keep walking straight through it, right? You walk once, nothing happened. You walk twice, maybe still nothing. But after a few times, you start seeing that the grass is actually bending and it's not lifting anymore. After weeks, you slowly start noticing that the grass is disappearing on that path. And after months or even years, there is pretty much no freaking grass. And that is how the habit is formed. Now, if you want to change a habit, you need to change the path you are walking. You need to start walking a different way consistently, just like walking around the field, to allow the grass to grow back again. But for it to grow back, you need to not only give it time, you need to plant new seeds, you need to water them, you need to fertilize them and allow them to freaking develop. That's how the new habit formation works. And there will be days when you're just tired, you know, when you don't feel like you want to take a longer path, right? So you go back to the old familiar one, and that is okay. That's part of the process. Understanding that creating a new neural pathway takes time allows you to make those mistakes without actually being hard on yourself. Because what really matters is the bigger picture, my friend, the long-term goal. Habits don't change in a day or a week or not even a month. Science is actually saying that after 21 days, the new habit is born. But it can take even up to 1 year for it to actually be engraved in your brain, to create that new neural pathway. And when you understand that, you allow yourself to take those 5 steps forward and 3 steps backwards without giving up on yourself. So if this spoke to you, then you're already starting to see what's really underneath those patterns. I would love to hear from you your thoughts. Feel free to share in the comments below. And if you want to keep going deeper into this work, understanding your body, your emotions, and your patterns, make sure to subscribe. I've also left some free resources for you, and I look forward to see you on the next one.